Remember the solar supporters website that we're putting together? It's gonna live on there as well.
Yes.
Oh, did you mean to start the recording now?
I'm gonna edit it down later. This is just so I don't have to forget. No, I'm gonna go through and like edit them so it's
Okay, yeah.
like
Nice.
introductions will be cut out and like Q&A at the end will be cut out. I just knew I'd forget. Okay, we have 5 people in the waiting room.
Hey.
Oh,
Oh
Rick's
my
in the waiting
goodness.
room. Rick, also, just to let you guys know, writes his name as he accidentally spelled it wrong once and he doesn't know how to change it. So it's Rico, but with 2 I's. And it's the most. Brian, I don't know if you know who Rick is, but he's one of our top supporters in Morrow County and he's like the cutest man in the world.
No, I don't know him.
He's so sweet.
Yeah,
But
waters, last minute bathroom breaks,
yep.
whatever anybody needs.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I staged my apartment before this, so we're all good. On good luck. Oh, now we have 7 in the waiting room.
Wow.
It's getting bumping in here.
Did you
Actually,
start the
Maddie,
dishwasher yet? Did
Huh?
you start the dishwasher yet?
No, it's not running. It's not running. It's so loud. I made
oh,
sure.
Maddie, you would know the guy who crashed the previous to last one that we did, Gary Hauser. He was the Franciscan monk who was helping us out in Knox County. Yeah. He just goes on like very long rants that did not have much to do with what was at hand.
I didn't see his name
Yeah.
last time, or when I last looked through the Mobilize. Also, we had 61 signups. Don't
Wow.
think that many will be attending, but we did have 61 signups. But if he does show up, I'm kicking him out.
No, he can stay, but he will just never be.
Okay. We will not unmute him. If he raises his hand, I'll say in the chat, please.
Yes.
All questions in the chat. I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes.
Distinctly in the chat.
Yes, we have 8 in the waiting room. But
For what? I'll be right back.
okay. Yep, and then I'll be asking all the questions. And I think that's all. Not much to it. The first one we did, we had like 4 or 5 prep meetings ahead of time that were really long. So these are a lot more relaxed, I think, now that we've hit our groove and also we're not working with the same, like with Green Lakes, they were very thorough. Okay. I'm gonna wait 1 more minute and then I'm gonna mute everybody. Oh, should I edit my?
I always want to have music playing during these things, but you know how sometimes other people play it and it turns out really choppy. And
Okay, I'm gonna. I also need to figure out how to mute everyone. Host rules. Okay, I'm muting everyone now. So if you need to talk, give me a little. Okay, I'm gonna admit everyone. Hi everyone, thank you all so much for joining our installment of Solar Supporters that's unions. We're gonna wait another 2 to 3 minutes just to make sure everyone has a chance to get in. If you have any questions at all today, please feel free to put them in our chat. Just because of the larger amount of people that are on this one, we're gonna have everyone just put the questions ahead of time in the chat. Just letting everyone know that. And so I also want to say thank you to everyone that's joined and our 2 panelists today. So we'll just give another minute or so and we'll get started. All right, we'll do one more minute and then we'll get started. Can everyone see my screen okay? Just a thumbs up. Awesome. All right, we can get started. So thank you all for joining Ohio Solar Supporters Union Engagement. And this is a highly anticipated segment for our OCA's webinar series. And if you don't know, we've have two others that we've done with Farm to Power for agrivoltaics, and we did one with Greenlight, talking about the Morrow project and ways to take action. And so today we're going to be working with the Natural Resources Defense Council and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the Local 688. So first, I'll be moderating this panel. And my name is Jo Baldwin, and I'm the Rural Projects Coordinator for Ohio Citizen Action. If you're not already following us, go give us a follow at Ohio Citizen Action. And we work on projects ranging from Morrow County to we've done projects in Fairfield and Knox. And we're starting help with the ballot initiative in Richland. So we're really excited to help educate more people about solar. And I'm really excited to talk more about union engagement today. So first, I want to introduce Brian McPeek, and he is the business manager of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers in the Local 688 in Mansfield, Ohio. And he joined the IBEW in 2011 and completed his electrical apprenticeship in 2016, and he has served in a number of roles, including being elected as the business manager for the past 2 years, where his main responsibility is delivering work to his members. Brian has been an advocate for utility scale solar in his jurisdiction, advocating for the now approved Fraser Solar Project in Knox County, the proposed Wombat Solar Project in Crawford County, and is participating in the Richland County referendum to repeal the solar ban passed by the Richland County Commissioners this summer. Brian has been an advocate for utility scale solar in his jurisdiction, advocating for the now approved Fraser project. Oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally hit paste twice. So, Brian, if you don't mind to add if you want to add anything that I've already mentioned.
I think you covered it all. Thank you. Did a
Awesome.
fantastic job.
Thank you. So first, I'd love to ask you, why does the IBEW get involved in renewable energy siting, especially when solar and wind are a small portion of the work that IBEW does?
Yeah, so it's definitely a small portion of the work, but it is a lot of work still. And it's one of the few energy producing plants that have, have so many hurdles to go through where, you know, natural gas, coal burning plants, I mean, there's really no process, no hurdles. So we get involved to try and help put our guys to work, help get the projects through the hurdles, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you talk about the impact that of solar projects on the local 688 and how many jobs or man hours does solar work provide?
Yeah, so we've been doing a couple solar projects in my local currently, and for just electricians, it's been roughly 65 jobs at two different sites. A lot of man hours now. Total construction jobs, probably closer to 150 to 200 on both of these projects, and they're smaller projects really too. So it's still a lot of jobs. My local has increased quite a bit over the past couple of years through these projects. We're actually in the IBW and growth uh, through the whole IBW, which is pretty exciting for us because we were a small local when I got in 2011, we had 160 members. We're up to about 320 now, so we've almost doubled in size. So it has really provided a lot of work for us.
So I'm really glad that it provides work. How long do the IBEW members typically work on a solar project?
So start to finish, depending on the size of the project, my projects that are going now are about a year. Some of them are closer to a year and a half, 2 years, but the projects we've been working on, they've been a little over a year from start to finish, which is a long project in construction. I mean, a 1 year job is a very good job in the construction industry. So.
Are there any projects in Ohio you'd like to point out as being built by Local 688?
Yeah, so actually, the very first project that 688 was involved in manning was in the Columbus market of local 683, the Union County solar project. We helped Columbus, and Lima helped as well. Lima's local man that project, and then the two we're currently building right now are Sycamore Creek in Crawford County and Marion County Solar Project in Marion. So.
That's really cool. And it's also my understanding that your father joined the union because of the solar work. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad, he had quite a bit of electrical experience, but not quite enough to be a journeyman electrician. These solar projects, they are covered under the IRA, so Inflation Reduction Act. So either you have to either be a journeyman or an apprentice. There's no other classifications for these jobs. So if you're not in a registered apprenticeship, which he had a lot of experience enough to, he had more experience than he would to get into the apprenticeship. So he wasn't an apprentice. So for that particular job, he was able to get journeyman rate while we gave him some classes for some of the things that he didn't know how to do that a journeyman would need to know how to do. So, I've been trying to get him in to join, the local for probably, I don't know, I would say a good 6, 8 years. And finally, the stars aligned with the solar projects. We were able to get him in, and he is on pace to be a journeyman here probably next month. So.
That is so cool. Um, so I'm really wondering, how does the everyday solar supporter be a good ally to unions? And how can we best help unions going forward?
Absolutely. I would say the biggest thing that just your everyday supporter can do is talk about the benefits of union labor, local labor. We have the most trained workforce, all local members. They all live within. So my local is 8 counties that we cover, but all within, a lot of those are going to be in the county that these projects are in if they're in our local. So the biggest thing is, we have a strong, skilled, well-trained local workforce that can build these projects safely, get them done on time and ahead of schedule.
That's great to hear. And so on the other side of things, how can the union be a good ally to a solar supporter?
I think the biggest things for us is, we have a network to mobilize a lot of people. We can get out to hearings and we can get letters written. Usually we have a good, strong foothold in local and state politics that we can pull at as well to try and help get projects approved when there's big hurdles. So I think that's the biggest step for us as far as being good supporters.
Um, that's really awesome to hear. So I'm seeing a few questions in the chat. And Ted is wondering, what is the geographic coverage of the local 688?
Yeah, so local 688, we cover Ashland County, Richland County, Crawford and Morrow counties, Marion County, Knox, but 3/4 of Knox County, half of Wyandotte County, and up to Willard and Upper or Huron County.
Um, Thank you, Ted, for that question. Next, Janet asked, she said, it's great that IBEW is pro-solar, but are there Morrow County unions that are anti-solar?
Not that I know of. Um, you know, Matter of fact, I don't know Morrow County in particular. But I know the Crawford County, we had some steel workers come out and support us in our public hearings, and some United Food and Commercial workers, as well as the laborers and operators who we kind of work with on these projects. So I don't know of any that are, but I mean, I can't speak for all.
That's um, good to hear. And then Rick is asking, how is the Marion project progressing? And are you experiencing any problems with acquiring materials with this project?
I don't know of any material holdups. I know for quite a while, just all of our jobs, we had trouble getting the bigger equipment, switch gear and things like that, but I don't know of any. The Marion project, it's on pace. We should be finished here in the next couple of weeks with the majority of the site work, and then they'll cut back to a skeleton crew doing punch list stuff and little items going through. So it's real close to being completed. I think they want that project turned over in July.
David is asking, are there any tips on getting local IBEWs engaged in fighting SB 52 solar and wind ban proposals? His county has a ban proposed, but no project proposed, and they are covered by 3 IBEWs, and he hasn't been able to get any engagement. He sometimes can reach business reps on the phone and set information, but hasn't gotten anything further. He asks, anything I need to do to speak their language or otherwise understand how to best communicate.
It they have a lot going on. I mean, we have it's a lot to get involved with these things, and it's a lot of work. The biggest thing I would say is be persistent. The more phone calls, eventually it's going to be easier for them to do something than to ignore. And most of the time, we want to get involved in these things. It's just a matter of there's so much on our plates that it's tough. And depending on what county it's in, there's a lot of work going on right now in the IBW, and so it is tough sometimes to get everything that we want to get accomplished.
That's really interesting. It looks like Isabel's asking, especially with so much misinformation out there about solar, what is your elevator pitch for solar?
I I really kind of just depends on who I'm talking to. I I always start with, not only is it local workforce that are building these projects, but we have several solar panel manufacturers in Ohio that are building these materials. Matter of fact, Marion is getting them from the plant up near Toledo. I think it's in Perrysburg. Um, they're getting their solar panels for that project, and it is a lot of work. Not only that, the amount of energy needs for Ohio is just exploding with all you know, the data centers and even manufacturing facilities that are coming. We need so much power. I just have a hard time saying any form of energy is not good. I mean, we need energy in any form.
Ted also is asking what's going on in Madison County, where it looks like a huge solar project is in the works.
I don't know a whole lot. That's outside of my jurisdiction. I know there is a project going on down there, but as far as the details on it, I don't know. But there is a project in Madison County. I do know that for a fact.
Rick is asking, what is your involvement with a solar facility once a project is online?
So it kind of really depends on the project. But there's a small solar facility. I don't know how many megawatts it is, but it's on maybe 3 acres of land in one of our towns in my county, actually, that the city put in. And I would say my guys probably spend a week's worth of work there a year on that small site, even just you know, fixing things that get damaged. And once we build them, usually they're hiring our contractors to go in and do the maintenance and repair you know, any kind of damage and all that stuff. I mean, we continue working on them for the life of the project, and then once they get to the end of the life, we want to be the ones to tear them out too. So
If anyone else in the chat has any questions, please feel free to ask them now. In the meantime, I wanted to ask you, Brian, what's your favorite part of working in solar?
I would say when you get a lot of people on a job, that's when you have the biggest challenges to overcome, and I like challenges. So, it gives me if I can overcome these challenges that guys are having on the job site, it gives you a good feeling. So that's probably my favorite part of working on them. Um, on top of that, I like the when we're in the permitting process, I really enjoy the um, talking to people at these meetings. Just the people that show up. I'm a talker, so anytime I get to have a conversation with somebody, I enjoy it.
Janet is asking, have you participated yet in a tearing down of a solar installation?
I have not. No, there none that I know of are far enough along to need it. At least not in my area. So no, I haven't. But I hope I get to in the future.
This is oh, Ted is asking another question. Do you know which local covers Madison County and whether they've taken a public position on the proposed project?
That would be the Columbus local 683, and I don't know if they have or haven't, to be honest with you. I'm not real familiar.
I guess I'm wondering, if you know what it looks like, for a solar installation to be torn down, and like what the process is with that.
Not really, no. I mean, we haven't got that far yet, so my projects are just going in, so I think both of those are 30 or 40-year leases on the projects that we're building. But you know, at the start of that, they put a bond down to cover the tear out of that of those projects, and then every 5 years they excuse me, they reevaluate the cost and see if they need to up that or keep it the same. So, but no, I haven't got to see that part of it yet.
Is there anything you'd like to add just about working with solar, and like the involvement of the IBEW within it?
Yeah, I mean, so I think when solar energy first started, we were doing almost none of the work. And then we really started getting involved with trying to get these projects approved and working with developers and, local governments. And now I think we do somewhere around 90% of solar work in the country. So, I mean, that's been really cool to see happen. Um, and like I say, you get to have a lot of awesome conversations with a lot of really cool people when these projects are going through the steps. And I mean, I love it.
And then someone asked, are there any fields that mature in Ohio? And how old is the oldest?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that there's any that have been around all that long. Now I could be totally wrong on that, but to my knowledge, I mean, the first one that I got involved with was 3 or 4 years ago. Now there's some older than that in Ohio, but um, I don't know of any that have made it far enough to need tore out yet.
All right. Oh, Maddie says the oldest utility scale project is Hillcrest Solar. And then I think we have wrapped up on questions for Brian. Oh yes, thank you, Maddie. Oldest in Ohio. Um, if anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to add it in the chat below, and we'll make sure that we get to you at the end. So I just want to say a great thanks to Brian, and if everyone could give like a virtual clapping. Thank you so much for sitting on the panel. And then next, I would love to introduce Maddy Wilson, and Maddie. Oh, I have to. Sorry, I was admitting someone. Um, Maddy Wilson works for the Natural Resources Defense Council as the program manager of the NRDC's partnership with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. She coordinates with IBEW leaders and other labor leaders to support renewable energy projects in Ohio, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Prior to this role, Maddie spent 2 years doing community engagement for Open Road Renewables, talking to communities about incoming proposed solar projects in the state. She has a Bachelor of Science in Environment and Natural Resources from Ohio State. And I'm gonna ask Maddie to unmute.
Hello, hello.
Maddie, do you want to add anything to your introduction?
No, I think that's great.
All right, awesome. So, could you talk a little bit more about what you do for NRDC?
Yeah. So, from a broad perspective, NRDC is first and foremost a law firm. That's how we got started. But something we've learned in our 50 or so years of advocacy is that creating a better environment isn't always just about stopping the bad. Some of it is enabling the good. So, a lot of our organization's work has happened at the national level, at the state level, but when it comes to building renewable energy, a lot of that is happening at a very hyper local level. And I think NRDC realizes that in small towns, we're often not the best messenger. And so that's why we have engaged a partner, which is the IBEW. So decision makers want to hear from the people they represent, and that's not me from NRDC, that's the local union members. And so what I do is I make the lives easier of those in labor who want to get involved. Business managers like Brian are really busy and they're worried about a lot. They're getting work for their members from a lot of different industries. So what NRDC does is we come in on that front end and we provide the analysis. We help with the strategy. We offer assistance with writing testimony. We've got really heavy research chops so we can test the best messages, and we've got the resources to create videos. And then lastly, as a law firm, there have been times where we've helped the IBEW with their legal arguments when they legally intervene in these solar cases.
That's awesome. I know you kind of answered this already, but how does the NRDC get involved with the renewable energy advocacy? And how do you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, it's
All right.
really, sorry, did somebody unmute?
No, that was my cat. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we always use this phrase that we take the bricks out of the briefcases. So when it comes to labor leaders like Brian, we make his life easier. You know, we do the first 5 steps and he just has to come in at step 6 when it comes to these renewable energy fights.
Awesome. So why does the NRDC make commitment on that they won't engage with these projects until a union commitment is made?
So that's essentially a way to show our partner, the IBEW, that we care about what matters to them. So just to reinforce it, we don't engage on these solar projects unless there is a union commitment made up front. It can often be an insult to these unions when they go out and they support the projects only for, a year or 2 years later, the project is approved and the construction goes to a non-union shop. If a leader like Brian is asking their members to turn out to a hearing only for it to not result in new work, that really is just a waste of their time and precious energy that could have been spent elsewhere. And you can only make so many asks of your members before you wear them out. So to avoid that and to avoid all the unnecessary strife with that, we just say, you know what? If you want our full campaign, you want that full force advocacy, you've got to make a commitment to the union.
So, why is it important for developers to commit projects to the unions early before projects are even approved?
Yeah. So the earlier that we can get in, the better we can organize. If you've ever heard the phrase that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, that absolutely reigns true when it comes to these renewable energy fights. When there's already a large opposition group built and the developer has dug themselves into a hole, the unions can't always go in and rescue that project at the final hour. So when we get in early, we can start those conversations about economic impact early. We can get to those commissioners and trustees meetings before they are absolutely packed to the brim every week with opposition members. And so we can start sharing the members of the workers early so we can reach that movable middle before there's just so much chaos and people don't know, quite how to feel about the project yet. But, even if somebody doesn't care that strongly about solar, they might feel really strongly about the American workforce, or they might care a lot about local jobs. And so getting in early means that we can really tap into that before there's a lot of noise. And two, when you have an early commitment, that means the local has more time to plan for the workforce, ensure that they have the proper ratio of apprentices, and just know that that work's incoming so they can plan for it.
From your perspective, why is it important to engage the unions in these fights?
Yeah. I think it's important to engage the union because when a solar project is done wrong, it's going to hire or harm the entire industry. So, it hurts the chances of projects in the future when a project is built poorly. There have been a handful of projects that have made mistakes, and other people can look at that and say, I don't want that in my community. The union has the skills and the training to do it right the first time. And two, a common opposition talking point is that they don't believe the solar work is actually going to create jobs close to home, right? So if they go and drive by a construction site where there's a bunch of Nebraska license plates or out-of-state license plates that aren't from Ohio, then they're right. And so we don't want to add fuel to that fire. Whereas if the unions are on a job, say Brian's local doesn't have all the manpower, he's going to the next local over that's maybe a county or two away, not halfway across the country to man that job.
So thank you so much for answering my questions. I wanted to open it up to the chat, to start asking you questions. And so the first one is Ted, and he is asking, so if the union is involved up front, how do you ensure that the union will get the contract for the labor?
Yeah, I mean, we typically do that with a memorandum of understanding. So that's basically an agreement that the developer signs with the local union saying, we intend to hire you for this job, and it's legally binding. So you kind of create that understanding in writing ahead of time.
Thank you, Ted. Does anyone else have any questions to add in the chat? I was personally wondering, Maddie, what your favorite part of working in solar is.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite parts has been learning about agrivoltaics. So, something I had never heard before, but getting to know that you can have, sheep underneath the panels. I've seen apiaries with bees underneath the panels. I think that's been really exciting.
Um, we'll wait just another minute just in case anybody else is interested. And so I guess I'm wondering from you what you think is the number one message to tell people when engaging with unions or with engaging with solar.
Yeah, I mean, the message is if you hire a union, you're ensuring that they are being paid quality wages, they're getting health care, they're getting pensions. It's really something that you can build a career off of, and there's honestly sometimes not a lot of those opportunities in rural America. Um, and two, if there's not a ton of membership in a county, the IBEW has an apprentice program that is 100% funded by them, so there's no taxpayer money in it, and they're training up America's workforce. We need more electricians, period, not just for solar, but in general. So let's bring them along with us.
Thank you so much, Maddie. So really quick, I just wanted to give everyone an information on where to find us. If you're interested in contacting Ohio Citizen Action, you can reach out to me at jbaldwin@ohiocitizenaction.org. If you're interested in talking more with Brian McPeek, with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 688, feel free to reach out to him at manager@IBEW 688.org. And if you're interested in talking more to Maddy Wilson, with the Natural Resources Defense Council, please feel free to reach out to her at mwilson@nrdc.org. And if you're interested in supporting us, please make sure to donate to either your local Ohio Citizen Action or any of the other organizations that we've mentioned today. And it's very important to stay informed. And so with that, we will be sending out a link to join our solar newsletter if anyone is interested. And to stay tuned for our next webinar. And with that, we can talk more about our next steps with that. And I'm looking at the chat. Oh, we have a question. So I am going to stop sharing. And we can, if anyone else has any other questions for anyone on this call, feel free to ask. But Carrie O'Hara is asking, how does the NRDC support lawsuits regarding solar? Can you give us some examples of legal action that NRDC has been involved with in Ohio or elsewhere?
Yeah. So one of the original places where IBEW and NRDC started working together was a solar project called Birch out in Allen County. And the NRDC had jumped in to sort of help both the IBEW find legal resources to intervene, but also the local citizens group that was like, we want to support, but we have no idea how to do so. They were called Acre, if I remember correctly. And something that happened is that case was denied, but it was taken to the Supreme Court. So the NRDC was pretty critical with workshopping the IBW's responses, like putting it in amicus briefs. There's a really long, case on it, and I'd love to provide you some more information, but
Do we have any other questions for anyone on this call? Oh, David is asking any thoughts on HB 303, the community energy bill. If successful, it seems it will result in a larger number of smaller solar developments. Do either Maddie or Brian want to answer? If not, I can.
go for it.
Okay.
The
So
IBEW supports it. I
okay.
can say that much. We're supportive of House Bill 303.
That's awesome. So if you don't know, House Bill 303 is the community energy bill, and is allowing people to get like a homegrown energy. And so what that does is it allows people to use renewable energies as community energy resources. And so it is not much of an increase on taxes, and it is solar seen as one of the most effective ways for energy. So if anyone else has any other questions on that, feel free to reach out to me after. Do we have any other questions or final parting thoughts? Ariel, were you asking a question? I asked you to unmute. Okay, there you go.
Just wanted to say that there was a wonderful article by Kathy Ann Kowalski about the possibility of developing solar on brownfields under the new energy bill, even if they're in counties with bans. So I put the link for that story in the chat because I thought that I didn't really understand it very well, but it made me happy for about 5 minutes in the middle of all the other horrible news.
Oh, thank you so much, Ariel. I really appreciate that. Oh yes, Maddie. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna let anyone allow themselves to unmute.
I wanted to add to that. So there's actually an energy project, solar and storage, that is coming into the OPSB soon in Benton County, and it is going to be on a reclaimed coal mine. So Benton County doesn't have a ban right now, but even if there were to enact one, this project would be sort of safe harbored by House Bill 15.
That's really cool. If anyone else has questions, you can unmute yourself. Or any comments.
So I guess my question, Joe, comes to you. How frequently is OCA involved in, or do we know ahead of time when these kind of projects with the Natural Resources Defense Council and Union are going forward, that they're aware that we can sometimes help with boots on the ground in terms of arousing citizen involvement and action that might sway the local office holders?
I did want to add that Ohio Citizen Action, we would love working with people within unions and other groups in our collaboration. And so we also do love working with people that have the boots on the ground. Bella, did you want to add anything to? Yeah, but we love working with unions, but we also love working with citizens. And we have worked with citizens in Morrow County, Knox County, Fairfield, and Richland. And so it is probably the best part of my job is working with the residents of a community because they are the lifeblood of it. Oh, Crystal is asking if the article can be dropped in the chat. If Ariel is still on.
Mariah, you had, like you said, excellent testimony for House Bill 303. Would you mind sharing some of what you shared there? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, so Aaron Brown has testified with us multiple times from the IBEW District 6, so he's a little bit broader scope of position, not just one of the locals. So we've got like that statewide support from the IBEW, which we absolutely love. And then we're starting to see some of the manufacturers kick up support as well, like TerraSmart and APA Racking, which are both Ohio manufacturers for different solar products. So they both have sent in letters now. And in both cases, both of those companies use Ohio steel. So we're involving multiple levels of union, from your manufacturers to your IBEW to your USW. So we love to see all of those union tradesmen, no matter what field they work in, being put to work making these great Ohio products that are being used to power Ohio as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Mariah. Um, Tracy, oh, Tracy added, if you want to plug your community energy webinar on Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So if you're interested in attending,
Chat, if you want to click on it. Sorry.
oh, go ahead if you want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we're going to hear from one of those manufacturers on Wednesday. So TerraSmart is going to join us and talk about their ground screw product, which is a racking item that goes into the ground without the use of any like concrete around it, so that it's easier to remove and does less damage or harm to the ground soil on those solar farms whenever they put them in. They frequently work on the smaller scale that community solar is. So they have a lot of experience with it. And even before they were doing solar racking, they were one of the largest providers of the materials for greenhouses here across the country. So they have a lot of experience with bending steel and putting glass on it in various different agricultural forms, which is really good to see that they're good at taking those farmer voices into account. And then we've got a couple small farmers joining us who we're looking forward to having developments put onto their land to help with either spaces that weren't super usable that they had, or that they wanted to have that second income available. One of them has some apiaries in use without solar, but they were damaged because he lives in the East Palestine area. And so he's looking for that supplemental income to help make back up for what was taken out with that train derailment a couple years ago. So we've got a good mix of voices going to be heard on that one. And we've got, another one of these great resources that you can learn a little bit more about solar. And in this case, we won't talk about wind, hydro, and everything else, but this is a energy agnostic bill. So we're going to put all the tradesmen together, and into use that we can, because it won't just be electricians on solar. Those electricians will need to be super knowledgeable and able to work on all those different projects whenever they're doing community energy.
Thank you so much. That was really awesome to hear, and I'll definitely be attending. Is there any final questions or thoughts that we wanted to add or ask? Okay. Thank you all so much for attending our union engagement webinar. I think this is definitely one of the most anticipated things that we've needed because there are so many questions surrounding unions in solar. And I hope a lot of them got answered tonight. And I wanted to give a huge shout out to Maddy Wilson and Brian McPeek. They are both amazing speakers and amazing panelists. So please give them a big round of applause. And I also wanted to thank Bella for helping moderate the chat. And thank you to everyone that's excited to attend. And then more information will be given soon about our next webinar. Thank you all so much.